Hi again, everybody. Tom here, and finally with another spongy moth update. We're near the end of this outbreak. I know it may not seem like that for some of you that are experiencing this right now, because they are at their biggest, most of them, and they are eating a lot right now. If you're experiencing defoliation on your trees, it can be very hard to watch, especially among oaks, apples, birches, beech trees, some on maples, not so much, and really any species, because the larger these caterpillars get, the broader their host range becomes. There are 300 something species that they will feast upon, and they have their favorites. One of them is not the pear tree. This is an ornamental pear, but it's interesting what spongy moth is eating and what spongy moth is not eating. Anyway, here we are, and near the end of their development as caterpillars, which is a larvae of a moth. This is the spongy moth. They will pupate into moths, and some of those will be females and some of those will lay eggs, and they'll lay a lot of eggs. And then we see what happens next year, and that's a whole nother conversation. But right now we're seeing natural death, natural mortality due primarily to two pathogens, which I've talked about before. One of them is the NPV virus, and the other one is a fungus called Maimaga. Maimaga is the Japanese word for spongy moth, and the Maimaga, Entomophaga maimaga is the full name of that fungus, Entomophaga maimaga. And what happens is that if the conditions are right, and there's enough moisture especially, which fungi need and fungi like, then the caterpillars get sick and die. And you can see these caterpillars hanging upside down with their head pointed straight down. Those have died from Entomophaga. The other ones that have died from NPV, which is a virus, look like an inverted V, and their innards have liquefied, and they stink too, so be aware of that. Those two things are occurring a lot right now, despite the fact that we are at the peak of defoliation and the maximum size of these caterpillars. We're still near the end. One last idea that I want to share with you: please don't cut down trees that have been defoliated. Just because they don't have their leaves does not mean that they are dead. As a matter of fact, it's very likely that they're not dead. Most trees can refoliate if it's not after 2 or 3 consecutive seasons of defoliation. They're probably going to be okay. I'm standing outside Wacona Park in Pittsfield, so that we're hearing the loudspeaker, but I've been meaning to get this update out to you for a while. So I think it's very late to spray pesticides. If you feel like squishing some caterpillars, great. Anything that you do like that can only decrease the number of mature moths that lay more eggs, that result in more caterpillars next season. But a lot of time will pass between now and then. Scraping off egg masses into soapy water can happen between August all the way through next April, and that'll be an important way to reduce that population next year. Meanwhile, these the virus and the fungal pathogen that are afflicting them, those are the heroes, and those are the ones that have kept spongy moth at bay for 160 years. So this is normal, natural stuff that we're starting to see more. So have faith, don't panic. We're near the end of this thing. I'll keep you posted. There's lots more to discuss, of course, but that is the spongy moth update for now.